Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about the match between Barcelona and Espanyol. Barcelona have been able to defeat Espanyol 3-1 with 2 goals coming from Dani Olmo and another one coming from Raphinha. And we do have Lamine Yamal, Casado and Alejandro Balde providing the assist for tonight. I believe that this was a match where we did start it off very well with high intensity, maximum effort, maximum focus, but in the last 40 to 45 minutes, which was basically the second half, Barcelona did drop their overall performance. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it has something to do with resting players, making sure that they don't overextend themselves because we have a game in about 2 or 3 days, but something was off in the last 45 minutes. Barcelona looked very reserved and provided nowhere near the level that they did have in the first 45 minutes. Maybe it could be the fact that we saw Casado leave in the second half, and also with Dani Olmo, where we did lose a lot of attacking threat. But in the end, I believe that Barcelona did a great job. Maybe it's because we are very spoiled because of how many wins we saw in the past 2 or 3 weeks, and big wins, right? We have defeated Madrid 4-0, Bayern Munich 4-1, Sevilla 5-1. We did expect for Barcelona to score maybe 6 goals against Espanyol, which could be the reason why maybe some of us felt a little off in the last 45 minutes. Because this does not mean that Barcelona played a bad game. It was just not in the regular standards of what Hansi Flick does bring to his football. But let's talk about the match, right? Because we did have a starting 11 with Iñaki Peña at the back. Our backline was Alejandro Balde, Inigo Martinez, Kobarsi, and Hector Fort, who was the right back for tonight. Jules Koundé did get some rest, so this was a huge moment for Hector Fort, because let me tell you, Hector Fort is still only 18 years old, and for him to impress Hansi Flick, it's going to be taking a lot, because Jules Koundé has the bar very high. So Hector Fort does know that he does have a lot of competition ahead of him, and I believe that he played really decent, with 47 out of 52 passes being completed, 2 chances created, 1 big chance created. He blocked 1 shot, 68 touches, 4 touches in the opposition's box, 8 passes into the final third with 2 out of 3 accurate crosses. And he also had 1 headed clearance, 1 interception, 3 recoveries, and he was only dribbled past 1 time. And so in the midfield, we had Pedri and Casado, a midfield that I believe many of us are satisfied with. It is our definitive midfield for the rest of the season. I don't really think or see Frankie de Jong making a statement over Casado or over Pedri. I'm not saying that Frankie de Jong has been bad, but he is not at the level of Pedri and Casado as of now. And then when it comes to Gavi, a player that I expect to be starting by now, I don't think that he's going to make it. I don't believe that he is going to be taking the level of Casado at all. It's going to be taking some time because he did come back from injury. So it does make a lot of sense because Casado has been just immovable. And the same thing with Pedri. So I don't see Gavi or Frankie de Jong taking any of those 2 positions unless Pedri or Casado do get injured. But let's pray that does not happen, right? We want to have Pedri and Casado fully healthy because they give Hansi Flick exactly what he does want. We'll talk about Pedri and Casado in just a few minutes. And then we do have Raphinha, Dani Olmo, Lamine Yamal, and Lewandowski up top. It was the first start for Dani Olmo tonight ever since his injury, and boy did he impress. Dani Olmo scored 2 goals and was very effective in the final third. He is our perfect number 10, and I believe that Hansi Flick does have a thing for number 10s, right? Because he knows how to get the best out of any 10 that he does place, whether it is Raphinha, whether it is Pablo Torre, whether it is Fermin Lopez who play in those positions. He knows how to get goals and assists out of these players, and Dani Olmo is probably going to be his best one and the most effective one. So starting off in the first 10 minutes of the match, I believe that Barcelona were very unlucky. We had a few chances. Olmo almost had a header goal with Lamine Yamal making a pass to Hector Fort. Hector Fort crosses the ball into the box. Dani Olmo misses. Then we had another moment where one of the midfielders of the opposition, they lost the ball in the midfield. Olmo tries to take a shot from outside the box, but the goalkeeper saves the shot. And then we had Lamine Yamal get the ball, take a shot from outside the box into the bottom right corner, but then again the goalkeeper saves the shot. But you can tell that Barcelona were really looking for the first goal. The intensity and the focus and the concentration was at an all-time high. And then came the 12th minute. Lamine Yamal made an amazing pass to Dani Olmo where he passed it with his outside of his boot, which was freaking ridiculous, right? Like, he is just as dangerous as he is with his inner foot, but this time it was with his outside of the boot, making a slick pass through the whole defense. And then with Dani Olmo, all he had to do was put a tap in and it was a goal. And at that moment, it was considered as 4 goals in 6 games for Dani Olmo ever since he joined Barcelona from RB Leipzig. Moving on towards the 21st minute, Lamine Yamal was not only providing great assist, but also stopping the counterattacks of Espanyol by tracking back all the way down the line. He was just on fire. 2 minutes later, Casado finds an amazing through pass right to Raphinha, and Raphinha chips the ball over Garcia, who was the goalkeeper of Espanyol. With this assist coming from Marc Casado, he now has 3 assists in the league and 5 total assists in all competitive competitions. Casado has had an amazing growth over the past few months. It has been so impressive. I believe that when we talk talk about who has been the player that has improved the most in this squad, it has been Casado. Casado has to be the player that has made the best statement on why he should be a starter. Because, like I said earlier in the video, Frankie de Jong and Gavi right now, just at this moment, does not touch Casado because Casado has set the bar high. He can provide assists. He's very defensively aware. He provides the energy that we do need, that Pedri sometimes does lack. It is never a problem. Casado brings that balance to Pedri in the double pivot position, and it's beautiful to see. And with Raphinha scoring the goal, he now has 11 goals, 9 assists in 15 games, which most likely puts him as one of the best players in the world, and for sure the best Brazilian player in the world. What a moment for Raphinha, and what a moment for Marc Casado. A few minutes later, on the 27th minute, Espanyol tried to make a counter-attack against Barcelona's defense, but as you can see here on this picture, Barcelona's defense was so on top of their game, you can just see that he was already offside. The player down the right flank, he was like so over offside, it was not even funny. We all knew that this was never going to be a goal. Even though that, yes, they did score successfully, it was ruled offside, and here's going to be another picture that confirms it. And so Barcelona's offside trap continues to be one of the best in the world. On the 30th minute, we saw Dani Olmo making it 3-0, which puts him at 5 goals in 6 games since joining FC Barcelona, and he scores from outside the box. It was a beautiful, beautiful goal. Like I have said, he is the perfect 10 for Hansi Flick right now. We saw at one point Fermin Lopez provide 2 assists against, I believe it was Bayern Munich, and then we saw Paulo Torre in one game earlier down the season score a goal, provide an assist in one match. We saw Pedri also get great performances as a number 10. We saw Raphinha provide 2 or 3 assists as a number 10, but Dani Olmo does seem like the perfect fit. Everything that Dani Olmo has learned through the academy years at Barcelona, and you combine that with his explosiveness that he has gained at Leipzig, you do have a very dangerous player. He knows how to cut through the defense. He knows how to slow down the game when it does need to happen. He masters all spaces on the field. I am pretty sure that Hansi Flick is very happy to have him. And then I remember when Dani Olmo scored that goal and it was 3-0, you can just see Frankie de Jong on the bench. He was bored. He's like, bro, okay, like it's 3-0, but when am I going to play? I don't know if Frankie de Jong was like thinking of something, or I don't know. I'm not trying to like cause any like drama or anything, but it did seem like Frankie de Jong was a little bothered because he wanted to be on the field. And it's hard for him to be on the field now, knowing that Casado, Pedri, and Dani Olmo are immovable at the moment. So I do think that right now, Barcelona, looking at those first 30 to 35 minutes, that level that we see, it is the best football that we do see in Europe. It has to be. It is not Man City. It is not Bayern Munich. It is not Real Madrid. Barcelona do have the best football, and they're doing it with 7 youth players in the starting 11. So it really does make you wonder, what is this team going to look like in about 2 years once Hansi Flick has a couple of transfer windows with him and more time with the players? How good can this team get? So we went on to the second half, and we saw immediate changes. Only 10 minutes into the second half, Frank de Jong finally comes in for Casado. Fermin Lopez comes in for Dani Olmo. Immediately after that, I don't know what it was, but for some reason, ever since the second half did start and we saw Frankie and Fermin Lopez go onto the pitch, it did seem like Espanyol gained an advantage because they saw about 4 to 5 chances once they came in. Like for example, one of them was on the 57th minute. Espanyol scores a goal. Eventually, it becomes disallowed because of the offside trap, but how does Espanyol even get that opportunity in the first place? By making a cross into the box, and there was nowhere to mark that player inside the box. And then on the 59th minute, there was a big save coming from Iñaki Peña, denying Espanyol from scoring their first goal. And then eventually on the 62nd minute, Espanyol scores their goal with Javier Boado, who finally puts it past Iñaki Peña. And to me, in my opinion, I felt like Barcelona really did lose their concentration. There was a lot of misplaced passes happening in the midfield, and I saw Hansi Flick screaming to some of the players, and one of them was for sure Frankie de Jong. He was yelling out, Frankie, like do this, do that, like what's going on? Why is it so slow? Why is there so many misplaced passes? Because it gave Espanyol a lot of chances. Going on to the 77th minute, we saw a few changes of Jules Koundé coming in for Hector Fort. Hector Fort, like I've said, he played amazing. On the 84th minute, we saw Gavi come in for Pedri, Ansu Fati come in for Raphinha, and I believe that at that moment when we saw Gavi and Ansu Fati come in, it was over, right? I did not see Barcelona scoring the 4th goal. It was just, we were just there for the vibes. We were there for maybe for Ansu Fati to maybe get his goal in. He actually almost did score, but it was ruled offside, unfortunately, on the last few minutes of the game. And as you can see here in the attacking activity, to kind of prove my point on how Barcelona played in the second half, you can see that Barcelona's attacking momentum in the first half was very, very high, with Espanyol barely getting any chances. And then when you go into the second half, right, the bars ended up being very low. And that's mainly because, you know, the intensity just was not there. I'm not going to think too much of it. Maybe, you know, we cannot see perfect football all the time. Maybe Hansi Flick is saying we need to reserve our energy because we have a few more days until our next match, which will be on Wednesday. But that is it, right? We have 33 points and 40 goals in 12 La Liga games for Barcelona under Hansi Flick, and we move forward from here. Our next La Liga match is going to be next week on Sunday, which is exactly 7 days from from today because we do have a game on Wednesday, and we'll see what happens from there. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.